The city was alive with the sounds of traffic, honking horns and hurried footsteps. It was evening, and the lights from the storefronts flickered against the falling snow. Amidst this chaos, a young girl named Emma, lost in her thoughts, stepped off the curb. Her small red coat stood out in the dim light as she absent-mindedly crossed the street. She didn't notice the car speeding toward her, its tires skidding on the icy road. The driver desperately honked and slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The car couldn't stop in time. Just as it seemed all hope was lost, a blur of brown fur darted into the street. A stray dog lunged forward, knocking Emma out of the car's path with all his strength. The car screeched to a halt mere inches from where the girl had been standing. Emma lay on the cold, wet pavement, her breath coming in gasps. She looked up into the eyes of the dog, who stood over her protectively, his fur wet and matted. The world around them faded away, and in that moment, amidst the chaos, an unspoken bond formed. As Emma lay trembling on the cold street, the dog nudged her gently, his warm breath fogging in the frigid air. "You saved me, thank you," Emma whispered through her tears, wrapping her tiny arms around the dog's neck. The dog wagged his tail slowly, his eyes filled with a mixture of concern and relief. Despite the bustling city around them, it felt like they were in their own little world. The dog, scruffy and underfed, had risked his life for this little girl. Emma clung to him, her heart racing, but she finally felt safe. The dog's warmth was the comfort against the bitter cold. With no one to turn to and nowhere to go, Emma decided to follow the dog's lead. The loyal canine seemed to understand her plight and gently guided her through the maze of snowy streets, as if he had done this 100 times before. The lights of the city dimmed as they moved into quieter, darker alleys, away from the noise and chaos. The dog led Emma to an old, abandoned warehouse. The walls were crumbling, and the windows were cracked, letting in the icy wind. It was far from a home, but it was shelter from the relentless cold. The dog pushed open a broken door with his nose, leading Emma inside. Emma's small frame shivered as she curled up on the cold concrete floor. The dog lay down beside her, his body acting as a barrier against the chill. Despite his own hunger and exhaustion, he stayed awake, ears twitching at every sound, keeping watch over the little girl. As the hours passed, Emma's eyelids grew heavy. She whispered to the dog, "What should I call you? How about Hero?" The dog's ears perked up, and he gave a slight wag of his tail, as if to say he accepted the name. Emma, finally feeling safe, drifted off to sleep, her head resting on Hero's side. The cold night took its toll on Emma. By dawn, her breaths were shallow, and her skin was pale. Hero's instincts told him she was in danger. He couldn't wait any longer. Barking urgently, he nudged her one last time before sprinting out into the early morning streets. The city was just waking up, but Hero didn't stop. He barked at anyone who would listen, tugging on coat sleeves, desperately trying to get help. Most people ignored him, but one man, intrigued by the dog's persistence, decided to follow. Hero led him back to the warehouse, where Emma lay motionless. The man quickly picked her up and rushed to the nearest hospital, with Hero running alongside, never leaving her side. As the doors of the emergency room closed, Hero whined, pacing anxiously, waiting for news of the girl he had saved. Emma slowly opened her eyes to the sound of beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. Blinking against the harsh lights, she saw her parents standing over her, their faces wet with tears. But it was the familiar warm eyes of Hero sitting by the door that made her smile. "Mom, Dad, he saved me," Emma said, her voice barely more than a whisper. Her parents listened in awe as the doctors recounted how a stray dog had led a man to find their daughter. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Emma's parents knew they had to keep Hero. The day Emma was discharged, Hero was waiting by the hospital entrance. He leapt with joy when he saw her, his tail wagging furiously. Emma's parents welcomed the dog into their home, officially making him part of their family. They gave him a warm bed, plenty of food, and all the love he had never known. But for Hero, the best part was being by Emma's side. Each night she would hug him tight, whispering, "Thank you for saving me, Hero." And every night Hero would nuzzle her, content to have finally found a home and someone to protect.